Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite manifestation coach under the sun. Why? Because I spend the most time with my clients trying to understand how to help them and where their problems lie so that they can, after coaching with me, experience fundamental changes in their lives that are permanent. I coach primarily in audio exchange and telephone sessions, as well as emails and texts in between. My most popular package is the Audio Unlimited package. How it works is that we start with an introductory phone call that lasts about an hour. You tell me about yourself. And then we proceed to exchange audios. Each audio has to be 20-minute max from you. My audio will exceed sometimes well past 20-minute mark. I usually go into sometimes an hour if I really have a lot to say. And this is how we exchange it. I ask you to tell me about your childhood. I ask you to tell me about your adolescence, your college years, up to the present moment, so that I can understand who is the person in my coaching. Your blueprint is your belief system, which I'm mapping out in doing so to understand what we need to work on. And it's a very thorough process that takes meticulous work on my end. I go through your audio more than once. I listen to it first without taking any notes, and then I listen to it, taking notes, stopping, listening to certain parts of it more than once, basically transcribing it in my own way so that I can address the points that are really important, that really stand out to me in this process. The number one situation in my coaching is you. It's not manifestation. We don't start with manifestation. So please be patient in this process and understand that I need to really see who is in my coaching, the kind of person you are, the kind of situations you come with. And that takes work. It takes 2 to 3 months for the full complete work for you to experience change. Okay? You need to come ready to do the work. You need to come humble, honest, and open. And most importantly, patient with yourself. Patient and doing this the right way once and for all. After my coaching, you will never need another coach. That I can honestly say, if you do this right, if you really follow my guidance, you don't rebuttal me, you don't start, trying to guide the coaching yourself and jump ahead, you will succeed. But like I said, you have to come ready to work the way that this is actually done and follow my guidance. The other most popular package is basically more or less the same situation, except it's mostly phone calls instead of audios. The Audio Unlimited, by the way, does have 5 phone sessions if you want to use them. Some people do, some people don't. But the other package, like I said, is mostly phone sessions. Okay, if you want to send me an audio here and there, you're more than welcome to, but it's mostly phone sessions. We get on the phone every other day, 2 to 3 times per week, I would say. And it's a phone session I record, and then I go through it just like the audio and take my extensive notes, and then we reconvene at the next session and I offer you my feedback. It's a lot more time on my end that I have to spend, and thus the price is higher. There are other packages on my website. The link is below. You're welcome to check them out, but those are the ones that are more thorough with a lot more results. But there are other packages like simply phone sessions that we interact on the phone without me taking extensive notes. But that I recommend for somebody who has already been in my coaching and is coming back for a refresher course. Sometimes people do that. I would recommend, if you're starting out in coaching with me, the packages that I just mentioned above, the Audio Unlimited or the Phone Unlimited package. Please pre-book to start coaching with me on my website, or you can send me a Zelle payment or Cash App, and please sign my coaching agreement. It's just for me to really set the rules of my coaching, that I'm not a therapist. You can bombard me. You have to respect me. You can't alarm me to the point where I am being threatened. That's pretty self-explanatory, I would say. And that everything is confidential and private in my coaching, unless you become a threat to yourself and you communicate that to me, or you become a threat to me and you communicate that to me or another person. That's pretty standard in every coaching agreement, and actually in therapy agreement as well. This is the protocol. Again, most people understand, 99% of my clients obviously and of course understand it, but and it has come to my attention in my coaching on YouTube that I needed to include those things because, well, my experience was such that I felt like I needed it. I've been coaching for over 8 years now. 1 year on YouTube, which I was kind of like looking through my files the other day, and it's amazing how many people I've met on YouTube now coaching. Very different people. I've been coaching mostly entertainment people, stand-up comedians, singers, actors, some businessmen, but mostly entertainment people. And I've met so many different people on YouTube, and I'm really grateful for that. Also, I want to mention something where the audio exchange as well as the recorded phone sessions, these are tapes that you get to keep forever for posterity. After the coaching is done, you can always go back and re-listen to it. So it's a really great investment in the self-improvement, and really taking this seriously will benefit you tremendously. If you have any questions before signing up, you can email me directly or message me on my website, whichever you prefer. There's also my phone number down below. You can also text me and let me know when you'd like to schedule our first phone session after signing up. All right? The subject of today is how to create a new version of your SP. Okay, again, SP could be anybody. SP stands for specific person, for those of you who don't know. Some people don't know, I suppose. And it could be anybody. It doesn't have to be a lover, husband, wife. It could be a sister, brother, friend, employee or coworker, boss, you name it. It could be anybody. A specific person just means a specific person. That's it. Whatever meaning you assign to it, it's up to you. Now, I'm going to tailor this audio to the assumption that this is a lover, okay, or a husband or a wife, or a person of interest in a romantic sense, all right? Most probably the reason you're listening right now and the reason you're looking up these things is because you have created in the past a version of this person that really kind of devastated you, that you didn't like. The outcome of the relationship was not good. You're in separation, or if you're still in contact and with that person, the relationship is just not great at all. And you're sitting there and you saying to yourself, how did this happen? And how do I like some things about this person. I obviously used to like this person, which is why I ended up in a relationship with them in the first place. But somehow here they are, completely showing me something completely different. Either they changed completely and drastically, or there were certain parts of them that you didn't like and they started to augment, and now that's all you see and all you experience. Okay, first of all, first things first, and this is a hard one to hear for some people, understand that this is your creation. You are the one who created this person from scratch. And you can reconstruct this SP from scratch because you created them from scratch to begin with. They are a perfect reflection of you and your fears or preferences or both. They're mirroring back to you something. They're a messenger. They're saying this is what your creation looks like. And so if you don't like it, there are no fingers to point. If you're in close relationship with that person and you're experiencing something really unpleasant, I'm not talking about a person who momentarily you get frustrated with and you disconnect from. This is somebody you really care about, somebody you put a lot of emotion and energy into. And so they are a reflection of you to like 100%, with 100% certainty. I can say that. I can sit you down, have a conversation with you. And oftentimes in my coaching that happens. The person tells me this, that, and the other, and this happened, and that they did this, that, and the other. And basically what it is everything that went on in my client's mind got projected out and created that person or recreated them not in the most beneficial way for them. But essentially they're mirroring back to you what you've got going on inside. And so really the one to make peace with is yourself, not them. The one to forgive, the one to really understand is you, not them. How did I create this? And in my coaching, we go through this one by one, step by step. This is why I cover your childhood, adolescence, and college years and all that jazz extensively, because I want to know what kind of beliefs did you pick up along the way in order to create this person in the first place. And usually, most often than not, all the time, this person is an amalgamation of everything that you've experienced thus far, good and bad. And so, if you have a tendency of creating a certain kind of individual with certain kind of qualities, that person is probably kind of like intensified it for you to finally get the fucking message that you're creating this pattern. So now it's time to uncreate it. It's all for you. The universe is so benevolent that it really is, even the so-called shitty shit is there to help you realize that you are the creator. That you are the creator, nobody else to look to and say, holy shit, bananas, this sucks. No, nobody's going to listen to you. Nobody cares. You know why? Because you're the one who created it. So the whole world is really looking at you, yours P included, and saying to themselves, well, I'm your creation, babe. So now what? What are you going to do now? What are you going to do now in order to have yourself pleased? Because it's up to you. It's not up to them. You can't go up to the mirror and with a frown and say, why aren't you fucking smiling? I want you to smile. I want you to be nice to me. But if you're frowning into the mirror doesn't have anything to reflect but a frown, all right? Or fear or whatever else you're experiencing. And so the idea really, step one, would be to get to know yourself. Why did you create it? How did you create it? Two would be to fall in love with the idea of the new version that you want to create. And forgive and forget, to the best of your ability, the old version. A lot of you have so much animosity attached to the old version. It's impossible for you to create the new one until you let go. After we cover the history in my coaching, I want you then to imagine something new, and we work on that. But it's important to first cover what what you have experienced so that we can then create something new. You cannot create something new without first processing the old and letting go of it. It has its validity. Why? Again, it has the messages for you of who you were before, who you are today. In order to change yourself, you need to understand what you're changing. What the fuck are you changing? If you're walking up to a table and it's arranged bizarrely, you can't rearrange it unless you know that it's bizarre, or that it's not to your pleasing, or that the fork doesn't go here and the spoon doesn't go there. This is all kind of like weird shit over here. I need to make sense of it and put it all in order. But if you don't know that it's not in order, then you can't put it in order. Does that make sense? And so the number 2 situation really becomes forgiveness. Forgiveness. Well, first of all, really, to me, the one to forgive is you, like I said. The one to really understand is you. You're the one who created it. And really, if you pretty much understand everything I just said, you're the only one to forgive. You have to forgive yourself for creating this version and putting yourself through this. And then, of course, forgive this person for, acting out based on your instructions, though. If you really download what I'm trying to say here to you, this person is not responsible for becoming that version or being that version that you created. Now, parenthesis here, and I mention this a lot on my channel, this does not include a person who was physically, emotionally, and mentally abusive. You still created this on some level, and forgiveness still needs to take place, but I really would not recommend recreating this person back into your life. That's just my point of view, and that's what I would recommend. You can certainly forgive that person and imagine them being, of a healthier mindset, but I'm just saying I would not recommend recreating that person back into your life. Okay, that's my position. Other than that, if they lied to you, manipulated you into thinking certain things that weren't true because they were insecure, or they cheated on you, or they behaved in some kind of disrespectful way, or they just, preferred somebody else over you, or whatever, or some kind of situation where you really felt left behind, and you started wondering, who is even this person? I don't even understand what happened. You really need to start processing all of these emotions and come to forgiving that person and understand that they were just out picturing to you all that crappy shit that you've got piled up in the middle of your living room. Metaphorically speaking, your beliefs, okay? All of those beliefs that you inherited from your mother, father, your guardian, whoever, along the way that affected you and convinced you of some bullshit that, quite frankly, isn't yours, which is why I call it a pile of garbage. And so forgiveness really is important. And then forgetting and really falling in love, creating that new version and falling in love with that new version. No, detaching from the old version after processing it. Listen, I just gave you 2 months of work and coaching, but it really works if you do it correctly. Okay, in one kind of paragraph, I just gave you maybe 2 months of work in my coaching. For some people, it's very difficult. It takes time to forgive certain things. But if you can really do it and detach from that version, and now realize that it's up to you to create the new version that you're going to be madly in love with, and realize that that version too exists, just like the shitty version exists, the new amazing version exists also. And the universe will orchestrate the change from the shitty version to the new magnificent version in such an effortless way where you think that something miraculous happened to this person. Like lightning strike them in the head and they've come to Jesus, and here's a completely different version of them, but one you created on purpose. And maybe something happened to them. Maybe they had an epiphany. They had some kind of realization. Maybe they met somebody and they were told something, or they pretty much had a realization on a very kind of like subconscious level that the way that they behaved it doesn't work, it's wrong. Okay, I don't know how it works. All I know that it does. The universe will orchestrate it in the most benevolent way, but in a way that it will make sense. Okay, there will be a continuity between the shitty version and the new amazing version. There will be some kind of event that happened which involved them realizing that they behaved in a shitty way. I've had that happen to me several times, and it was the most amazing thing, I'll tell you. One of my SPs from way back when was quite frankly, like an asshole. Let's just say it plainly. An asshole, a womanizer. Didn't care about anybody's feelings. It was all about him. And we parted because of that. He told me, I want to see other people. And I, of course, was in love, and I took it very hard. And obviously, that was the end of it. And sometime later, he connected back to me, and he apologized to me. But it was a completely different person. The way he spoke to me and the way he was sincere and acknowledging all of my feelings and really working hard to express his regret over treating me this way, and what an amazing woman I was, and how I should have never left you, and all of these things. Now, I was not interested anymore. I have since moved on like a long time ago. But he really wanted to have me back. And that was extraordinary to me, because I remembered clearly how he was, really just brutal with me. Now, it doesn't have to take a couple of years, which it took from me at that time. I stopped caring about that person. And quite frankly, I stopped resenting him. I completely forgot about him. And I think that's what really works sometimes, when you stop resenting somebody and you kind of let go of it. The universe has a way to show you some miracles. But if you hold on to the resentment, and if you continue feeling sorry for yourself and all that jazz, then it doesn't happen, because you're too attached to the old version. I hope that makes sense. Again, it doesn't have to take years. You can say right now, immediately they change, and they start changing in that moment. Instantaneously. Now, you don't see it on the outside, but I'm telling you, in that moment, they've changed, because you've connected to a parallel version. In that parallel reality, that version is completely different. Drastically different. I mean, if you keep thinking that it's going to take a certain amount of time or a long time, then that's what it's going to take. But if you think the change is immediate, then it's fucking immediate. If I knew about manifestation back then, this was like, I don't know, over 15 years ago, the example I gave you, something like 17 years ago now, I would probably exercise my powers. But I didn't care to. And I didn't know, actually. And when I did, I really didn't care about this person anymore. And so it kind of happened naturally. But since then, I've done it on purpose, a lot quicker than a couple of years. The chances are you're really intense about this. So this is for those people who are not as nonchalant as I am about my SPs. You're very intense, and you're very kind of like obsessive about it. Now, for a second, follow along with this thought. All this thinking you do about your SP, don't you think that this energy goes out into the universe? It does. even the obsessive thinking, even the constant wondering, all of this, it goes out into the universe and translates into something. Okay? They're getting the message from you. It's just not the message that you'd like. It's just the way you think of them, in a desperate way, in a kind of like needy way, or resentful way, or angry way, or they should have done this way, or I should have done this way. It's the quality of thoughts is what matters. Okay, and the expectancy to materialize them. So if you're thinking with resentment and with they should have done it this way, they shouldn't have done this, I should have done it this way, I shouldn't have done this, yes, I want them, the next day it's no, I don't want them, the next day it's maybe so. It's too many instructions. It's all in different kind of like directions. And if you're thinking from the point of view of resentment, they're not going to come, and they're not going to turn into anybody wonderful. It's okay to understand what you don't want, obviously. It's how you know what you want. It's simplistically put. But if you're too busy being attached to that version, you're never going to experience the new one. It's as simple as that. So direct all this energy that you've got going on about them. You care about them, you're in love with them, you really miss them, and all that stuff. Take that energy and direct it in a productive way. Fuel it towards a version that you would really love to experience, not a version that you've experienced already, and we know you don't like them, so we get it, yeah, got it, yeah, you don't like that shit. Create the new version and direct that energy in a good way, in a productive way, towards manifesting them immediately, almost immediately, quickly, faster than you've ever experienced anything. All right? Now, again, you have to work on your beliefs, and if you don't believe you can manifest it that fast, then it's not going to happen. But you could. You absolutely could, which is why the processing of all that junk is so beneficial. Once you disconnect all that drama panorama from your perception of your SP, the old version is no more. That's it. It's gone out of your reality, no more. And you're the only one keeping the old version alive, by the way. It's up to you to keep the old version alive, or to start creating the new version, which that version will replace the old version. And then keep that version alive, because obviously that's what you would prefer. Because just like you can dictate what they say, and I know a lot of you know that already, you can dictate how they now are. If they say those things to me, if they're texting me this, if they're writing to me this, well, then they've changed. They've changed. And you can also dictate what they think about you, or anything, or anyone else. Let me repeat it. Just like you can dictate what they say, which is easy for you to imagine, right? You can dictate how they now are, and what they think about you, or anything, or anyone else. Yes. And for some people, they're going to hear this and they say, well, this is manipulation. No, it's not. This is creation. And if you think this is manipulation, honestly, this is not the channel for you. We're here creating our, manifestations on purpose. You're in complete control over your creations. And if you're just waking up to that fact, I advise you to watch more than one video on my channel before you assume that this is some kind of manipulation again. This is not manipulation, this is manifestation. And I'm going to leave you with this. Underneath all the problems, whether that's SP or whatever it is you're working on, all right, there is the truth. There's the reality of things, how things really are, the perfection of things. I call it the magical world, that you have permission and in fact, maybe the duty to create in your reality, to experience the ultimate reality. Out of all the myriads of realities, you have permission and the duty to create the optimal experience for yourself so that you can experience the best version of your life, thus inspiring others and radiating love in the universe. And so if you get quiet enough, you will hear this quiet, gentle voice, this presence, this almost like an angelic presence, if you will, that guides you back to the way things really are. Not your perception, not the way you've created them and distorted them through the prism of your beliefs, which have never served you, never will. Not all of them, but the shady ones. And the voice always is steady and says everything is perfect, everything is fine, everything's okay. You just have to see that truth and the beauty of that truth that resides within you always. And so within you, there is already always that version of events, of SP, that you are familiar with. You just haven't allowed yourself to go there. And the entire premise, the entire reason for manifesting things is to create that ultimate version of things. Now, for whatever reason, you haven't allowed yourself to do this up until now. And I'm here to say that the only person that stands in your way of creating that new version of SP is you. This is why we circle back around. The one to make peace with is yourself. The one to forgive is yourself. And start painting anew. Start painting a new reality. Start painting a new version of your SP. Thank you very much for listening. All the information from me is below. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.